All right, it's time to break it down from the Cincinnati side of things with Jeremy, a.k.a. Bengals Captain. You guys know him all throughout Cincinnati. Who dey, Captain? What's going on? Thanks for hopping on with us.
Who dey? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, Cap, this is our longtime Giants beat writer for the Post, Paul Schwartz. He's going to open things up. Paul, let's get him. Let's talk some football, man, because we were talking primetime football. The Bengals coming to MetLife Stadium. Let's break this thing down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think many people thought the Giants would have a better record than the Bengals leading into this, Sunday night matchup. The Giants are underdogs in their own building to a team that's 1-4. So should the Bengals be favored in this game? And, what is the mood there? I mean, is it like the sky is falling? I mean, this is a team, I think, that people thought was a legitimate AFC contender, and they're on the precipice of being nowhere. What's the vibe down there?
It hasn't really worked out to start this year, has it? We all thought the same thing. I think the vibes in the locker room are going to be a lot different than the vibes in the fan base. In the fan base, the ship is actually sinking. There's a lot of worry about what's going on with the defense, giving up 41 points to the Ravens. In the locker room, they know what they have. They know the offense is capable of putting up points, and every week we have increased those points put on the board. There's still untapped potential in the offense, so I think that's where any expectation of the Bengals being favored comes from, is that high-powered offense.
So let's talk about Bengals defense, man, because obviously Trey Hendrickson is one of the elite pass rushers in the league, but outside of that, there's no sexy names when it comes to playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. So which unit do you attribute the shortcomings to? Defensive line, backers, or the third level in terms of the secondary?
Zack Taylor said that when somebody asked about safeties, he said, well, really, we have to look at every level of the defense. Everybody owns what's going on right now. I know the fan base, we're a little worried about the safeties. We brought in Von Bell, a trusted leader who's got some epic plays burned into our memories as fans. And Geno Stone was supposed to be that ball hawk coming in from the Ravens. Something's not working, and we've got some guys, Jordan Battle, who could step up. He made plays in his rookie season that a lot of fans are clamoring for. I know Lou, coming home, is going to want to put on a show and prove that his defense can actually withstand some of the injuries that they've had. We're getting some guys back healthy. So I think they're going to make whatever changes that they need to make, whether it's starting the game or in game. But you're right. Trey Hendrickson is the heart and soul of the pass rush. Sam Hubbard has provided some spark, but it looks like his first game back really healthy last week. He made some plays. Trey Hendrickson was battling the stinger. He might not have been the same. Hopefully he'll be a little healthier going into this week. But I know the Giants are battling some injury questions there too. So it's the blame on the defense, I think, goes from defensive line all the way to the secondary. They've just got to get back to their fundamentals.
Yeah, talking about cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt, he's allowed 159 receiving yards in coverage on 20-plus air yard targets this season. That's second most by any defender. And we talk about the Giants receivers. They got speed on the outside with, if Malik Neighbors is healthy, Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt. It's funny, Paul, that I'm about to ask this question, but do the Giants receiving core kind of scare you guys when it comes to this Bengals secondary?
Yeah, Malik Neighbors is terrifying. I see a lot of Jamar Chase in Malik Neighbors' trajectory. So there have already been a lot of jokes about, okay, how many yards is Malik Neighbors going to pick up? Whatever that number is, if you're betting, hit the over. Cam Taylor-Britt, I know he's looking for that comeback game. He's had a couple of rough games that are very uncharacteristic. But you know what? Iron sharpens iron. Malik Neighbors just has it. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that's going to eat no matter what.
Paul, he said the iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, look, LSU, sometimes you look at them and say, how do they lose any games? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they had Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors on the same team last year, right? Yeah, you mentioned Lou. Obviously Lou Anarumo, the former Giants assistant. He's a New Yorker. Yeah, I agree. He's going to want to come in, and this is a shabby product he's put out there. They know. I heard the Bengals defensive players had a players-only closed-door meeting. Which we all know how that goes, right? You know what I mean? It'll be the reason why they won, or it'll be laughed at if they lose. But yeah, Lou Anarumo was a guy who was getting a lot of talk. I mean, he got some interviews for head coaching jobs, when Cincinnati was, on the ascend. And, obviously this is a really rough start for him and his defense. I do think they will play better defense on Sunday night just because they can't play much worse. And the Ravens are not the Giants. You know what I mean? The Ravens with Lamar. He's a bear to with Derrick Henry. They're almost impossible to stop on the ground. The Giants' running game is not that certainly. I'm wondering, what are people saying about Zack Taylor? You know what I mean? I mean, he's a young guy. He's been in a Super Bowl. I mean, is he? I think, I'm probably not hot seat. We can all throw around all these guys at hot seat, but are people getting a little frustrated with him with this start?
Fan base is definitely frustrated. It's tough because after every loss, there's going to be that instant reaction. And then the little bit of time to look at film and analysis and maybe hear what other people have to say. And then you gauge your reaction. You maybe shift there. Zack got a lot of heat for the play calling in overtime. Come to find out that second down, Burrow checks into a run out of the pass. But really, it's never that one play. It's never that one call. It is a collection of decisions throughout the game from the players, from the coaches. I know the staff itself has said, they're going to look internally to see what they can do to improve. Joe Burrow's having a season like no other, and he's even said he's going to try to find a way to squeeze out anything additional that he can, with everyone kind of making comments about the defense. So the fan base feels split right now, understanding that you can't give up 41 points in a game and expect to win. And the other people, obviously, are worried about Zack and think we should be more aggressive on offense. Again, putting up the numbers that Joe Burrow and company have put up, I don't know how much more aggressive you can possibly be, but the seat is definitely warm. I think it's going to be warm for anybody who's 1-4.
Well, I mean, are we talking Robert Saleh warm, or are we just talking, do the automatic car starter, from your living room before you get in the car in the morning just to warm up the seats? What type of warm are we talking about?
It feels like maybe end of tenure Bill Belichick warm. It's like, hey, the guy got us to a Super Bowl. We've got a high-powered offense, the best offense we've ever had under Zack Taylor. So the temperature is a little bit cool. The cool warm on that scale.
Does the fan base feel like you guys' window is closing?
I think that's a Cincinnati thing. We always feel like the window's closing. We have not forgotten the 90s and all the terrible records of the year and all the jokes and everything else. I think that has stuck with us. So it's always closing. I don't agree. I think with Joe Burrow, we always have that chance. But there's some fear and anxiousness, anxiety in the fan base.
How's the fan base looking at this game in terms of, okay, we're playing the Giants? What do you guys, when you're talking to, you're on social media, you're doing your show, what are you guys feeling in terms of being 1-4, going on a road game to New Jersey, primetime game against the Giants? Do you look like this could be the game that gets you guys back on track, or are you kind of biting your nails a little bit?
Oh, the nails are gone. I don't care how optimistic you are or how negative, the nails are gone. This is pretty much a must win. Recovering from 1-5, I don't know that anyone has ever done it. And again, Malik Neighbors is terrifying. Daniel Jones, one of those guys where that ceiling is high. I know the talk, and I know New York is a tough media town. Daniel Jones, he's got wheels. He can make plays. He's had some good games. He's heating up a little bit. we're all a little bit terrified. We know we have to win. So the fingernails are absolutely toast. I worry about some of the fans going after the toenails next. Like, don't do it. This is a must win.
Paul,
I'm wondering. Jamar Chase and the LSU thing. There's a brotherhood there with those receivers. Is he taking this? He doesn't want to be upstaged by his buddy Malik Neighbors on national TV. Chase is. We all know how great he is. In every fantasy football league, he's a top 3 or 4 pick, right? You know what I mean? With that quarterback and that receiver. And now the new kid in town, Malik Neighbors. He didn't play last week. We get it. We think he'll play this week coming out of concussion protocol. Jamar Chase, I would think he is, looking at the Giants defensive backs, but also looking at Neighbors and saying, kid, you're not going to, when this game's over, they're going to be talking about this LSU receiver and not that one. Do you think there's something to that with him?
I think so. I think Jamar Chase, he's a competitive guy. He definitely does not want to be upstaged. I think, the right amount of ego in a game like this can help us. It can definitely help the Bengals to find maybe a couple extra plays here and there that we might need. I think it's going to be a close game. Regardless, I think it's going to be a close game. And if Jamar Chase needs that little bit of edge, I definitely say run with it. I'm already looking at Lou. Lou's got that motivation to dig deep. Now you wonder, well, why weren't we digging deep a couple of weeks ago? Mike Hilton recently came out and said, well, maybe we're trying to go after the turnover. We're trying to strip the ball. We're not concentrating enough on tackling. You know what? It happens. We've all been there with our jobs where, you get a little tunnel vision. You start veering off the path. You got to get back to the fundamentals. I think everybody's going to be additionally motivated and extra focused this week to make sure that they don't slip to 1-5. So it's a desperate team, but I think it's desperation in a good way.
You mentioned Jamar Chase's ego could be a good thing. On the flip side, Paul and Cap, the Giants could turn this ego into disaster. Because if you think about he's going to get doubled. He's going to command some sort of attention. So you take that, Cap, and then you take the fact that the Giants' pass rush leads the league in sacks, and they're getting after quarterbacks. So if Joe Burrow doesn't feel comfortable throwing in the double coverage to him, 2, doesn't have time to throw at him, then that's when receivers, they don't see the pass rush. They just know I'm open. That could turn into something huge. So when we talk about the Bengals offensive line, how do you feel they hold up against this Giants pass rush?
This will be a great test. We have been extremely happy. Orlando Brown Jr. is playing his best ball in pass protection of his entire career. The line has been what we've been begging for Joe Burrow since he's gotten into the league. There's still work to do. We could still improve that. And Joe Burrow, you could see just against the Ravens, he's still got the wheels. He's still elusive. So he got out of some sticky situations, but we also set ourselves, behind the sticks on a couple of the sacks. So everyone is talking about the pass rush from the Giants. That is terrifying. We are definitely hoping that we come out with kind of a quick passing game, make sure Joe Burrow's always got that outlet available. And if Jamar Chase is frustrated, I don't think it's going to affect any other part of the game because we've got T. Higgins, we've got Yoshi, we've got Jermaine Burton waiting in the wings who really has not seen the field a whole lot, who could potentially be an X factor if he's got a deep reception. So thankfully it's the offense that has the weapons and the opportunities. It's the defense we're going to worry probably the most about.
Paul, you got anything else, Paul, before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to know, can the Bengals run the ball? I know that, they're way down at the bottom and rushing. Sometimes that's you're behind. You have to throw. You have Burrow. You want to throw because if the Giants can make them fairly one-dimensional, and it's a really good dimension, I get it. Burrow. I mean, I think Burrow's great. I'm not the only one who thinks that. They're 1-4, and their quarterback is healthy and it's great. That's really screwed up. You know what I mean? But can they run the ball? Their running backs don't really scare anybody. They don't like running the ball as much, I don't think. But if the Giants can do a good job with that, then they can deal. You mentioned the quick game. I mean, Higgins and Jamar can take a quick game and go 80. You know what I mean? We know that. You know what I mean? So, they don't have to settle. But, can they run the ball? Can they just man up and run the ball? And if they can, I think then, run-pass option is going to be a big problem Sunday night.
I don't think we've seen what we want to see from the run game yet, but we've seen those glimpses. So when you look at the stats against the Ravens, you look at the choices to run in overtime, you might question, well, why were they thinking about that? But if you look at how the game started, you've got Chase Brown immediately ripping off a 16-yard run. You've got Zach Moss with glimpses. We'll have an explosive play on the ground here and there, scattered with maybe a run right in the middle for no gain. So it's a lot of hit or miss, swing for the fences, or you're just running to run and hope you can keep the defense eyeing on that play action pass. But if the Giants do stop the run and completely take that out, I worry that it does take away a newer option for the Bengals this year, and that's a play action pass. Joe Burrow has improved some of his fakes. I saw him with an old school boomer holding the ball by the hip, a really good fake earlier in the season. So if the Giants do stop the run and mitigate Chase Brown's speed, and the Bengals don't try to find another way to get Chase Brown involved, and again, no offense to Zach Moss, he's done a great job, but it's Chase Brown's speed that really helps our offense go. It's going to be a different look for the offense, and they're going to have to figure it out in game.
All right, Cap, tell the people where they can find you on social media, man.
It's super easy, at BengalsCaptain, no matter where you look. Twitter, Instagram, I still call it Twitter, BengalsCaptain. Love to talk to y'all.
All right, man. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Today.